Very well. You do know why we're here, right? You received an email, and we have a great challenge because every 5 years, Seventh day Adventist church leaders from around the world gather to share information about their departments. Today, we're here to think about how to show the goals and objectives of the stewardship department. Let's think then about a script for a video.
Well, I think that the first step is to say that this department does not only take care of the church's money. We need to show the results of an outcome of something greater and show what stewardship is really about, you know?
My suggestion then is to start with the project God first, because it translates very well the purpose of Christian stewardship of making us more spiritual.
Yes, we can show that the app God First was a success, with the videos with commentaries of each topic. Then, we can talk about the booklet produced by the Brazilian publishing house, pointing out that the project didn't end in 40 days, and that the studies continued, always going along with the chapter of Revived by His Word.
We need to show that we are still making those other booklets, those of the Spiritual Enrichment Seminar. They are still being made, and actually, we can reassure that they are still very much in use, especially with the new converts.
Aline, write it down because it is important for us to have all the information. And I would like to know from you why you think the God First project summarizes Christian stewardship.
First, because when the person accepts the booklets, they have the opportunity to renew their covenant with God in a more complete manner. Here, communion with God is placed in a set of complementary actions. The return of tithes, offerings, and pacts are listed as an act of worship and not fundraising. In addition, the booklet also encourages the relationship between people in order for them to share what they're learning.
Just adding to that, we can use that hook and make a screen with the members that were already reached by the project in the South American division. Just so you have an idea, on the day it was launched, which was in February, nearly 800,000 hard copy booklets were handed out. Then there's the reach of the app. In addition to the internet, only on Facebook page of God's First has had more than 100,000 daily visits.
I also saw the report. We can add that 50% of those who received the material filled in the space for renewal vows. As a caption for the video, we write the goal for the South American division until 2020, which is for 70% of church members to make this renewal.
Something else we can show is that this project involves also other departments: youth, women's ministries, pathfinders, students from seminary.
We can finish by showing testimonies from people who are not from the church, but who are interested in the material and have taken this opportunity to learn more about the Bible. Actually, the purpose of this project is to serve both audiences.
Please write this down, Aline. Get testimonies from God First. We're done with this part. Any other suggestions?
We also should talk about the resources for the family budget that the department makes available. It is important because it highlights the support given to the family. Have you seen the material? It is excellent. There is this one for the whole family, this for young people, and it is also all available online.
Look how important this is. We can use wisely managing 100% of the money that God gives me for the family budget. This sentence alone teaches that stewardship guides the person in taking care of their finances.
There are also videos for children and teenagers that show the reasons why we should give our tithes and offerings. It is an animation, short and to the point. Have you seen it? It's very nice. I'm going to show it on TV so everyone can see.
Pegar em todo mundo. E é tudo bem dividido. Sabe como? A maior parte fica na sua região. Partes iguais na União.
It explains even how the resources are used. Since we are in this part of the script talking about the reasons why for tithes and offerings, we can point out that this not only helps the local church, but aids in missionary projects in several parts of the world.
Okay, let's sort this out or we'll get it all mixed up. Did you take notes on highlighting this resource in video? So then we can talk about tithes and offerings, what comes in and what goes out, and how it is used.
The data generated by the BIAI system is very interesting because it shows the characteristics of each region. In Bolivia, for example, some members give back their tithes only once a year because they depend on the harvest. I even saw some pictures from the feast they had on that day. Now in Brazil, the profile of tithe givers are different. It is monthly. This is very interesting for us to show. Take a look here.
Yes, and in the same system, the BIAI, we can also make some sort of general spiritual diagnosis. There we have data from all churches which make up the South American division, and it is possible to compare several items. For example, there is a study where the issue of discipleship became clear. When it was analyzed the regions that have the highest percentage of tithe givers, we can notice that these are regions where the greatest number of those who were baptized were brought to the church by their families or through personal contact. Then it becomes clear where the growth is more solid. It is very interesting to make the statistical comparison.
I'm going to talk about the stories because I understand that they put everything that we're talking about in action. What exemplifies all this part of communion and faithfulness are the testimonies of Taste and See. I think that we can take some parts of the stories and add them to the video.
Write it down, taste and see. Not only the testimonies are available on DVD, but also online. We need to show this and highlight the website. We'll have a lot of information, and the hard thing will be deciding what to say. We have the reason for the project, the goal of the video, which is to encourage the return of tithes, as well as encourage the members to care for the mission and the members.
Exactly. And there are also many discipleship projects developed by the department. This booklet, we can also show photos of the follow-up process with those who were recently baptized. I have these videos and pictures that show groups of discipleship with old and new members together. What do you think?
I think it works, but then we have to have a voiceover explaining that this project was developed with the goal of not letting new converts alone to themselves, but to help them deepen their biblical knowledge and to prepare them to pass it along.
And this project has a very interesting outcome in Peru. There, they have a visitation plan for recently baptized people. They make 4 visits per year. On the first visit, they teach them how to study the Bible, have worship at home, things to help their personal and family devotion. On a second opportunity, they talk about the 8 natural remedies. On the third visit, they help to build ways of managing their family resources, separating their tithes and offerings. And on the last visit, they explain how to use their gifts for the mission.
Imagine how interesting it would be to show in the report the regional growth in number of tithers, showing the system that the churches having the greatest follow-up with members also have the greatest growth.
My suggestion for CG in this part of the report would be the South American Division intends to increase the number of tithe givers by 10% a year.
Now, another facet of the department, we need to talk about the projects for training of pastors and church members.
I already set aside some really nice pictures that we have from this, but I'll get some more. We also have this material. In the symbols, it is explained the meaning of worship, methods for discipleship, and the basis for theology of tithes and offerings.
Okay, I wrote it all down. We cannot forget to mention that since last year, Christian Stewardship became a course in the curriculum of theology program of the Latin America Adventist Seminary. And now, future pastors will be already familiar with the topic on the 1st and 7th semesters. They will be prepared when they graduate.
There is an infinity of resources. We have this for pastors, elders, or those interested in helping in the departments. It is a small booklet, takes up no space with 12 sermons. It is modern. It has a QR code. Look how nice. Here, my friend, it has everything. Videos, sermons, PowerPoint presentations.
Perfect. Now I believe we have more than enough material to begin with the script. Any other suggestions?
Just for the end, I think that we can produce scenes of people in communion with God at the start of their day. A couple doing their financial planning, leaders making visits, maybe someone setting aside their tithes and offering in an attitude of worship. And then would come the slogan for the department, my all in response to God's all.
I just remembered of a story from Taste and See that has all of this. I think we can use it to finalize the video. I'll put it on the screen. Take a look.
The church in Constitución, Chile is very involved. Their programs are very spiritual, and this leads to a great revival among the members, being a good thing to influence their faithfulness in tithes and offerings. Every Saturday, Yolanda and her aides gather to count the members' givings. They do an important job managing the church's financial resources. She had asked a very trustworthy church member to keep the tithes and offerings while she was away. On February 26, at night, when Yolanda was on her way home, she picked up the tithes and offerings they had collected while she was away and went to bed. Later, at the early morning hours, she was awakened by a violent earthquake. Amid the noise, darkness, confusion, and panic, she managed to wake up her husband and child and quickly get out of the house. With no time to lose, she grabbed what she could and they got into the car.
Hector, we have to find Susana. She is in the 5th floor. We have to find her in her apartment in the 5th floor.
Desperation was increasing. They were all screaming to get out of the place as quickly as possible.
Don't drive against traffic. You're going to crash.
Next day, the worst part was apparently over. Yolanda remembered that she had forgot the tithes and offerings at home, inside the bags. They had to be registered and delivered. There was little chance to find them, given the magnitude of the earthquake. The earthquake had destroyed much of the city. People walked down the streets, looking for their relatives, trying to recover what they had lost. Yolanda didn't lose her faith. She believed that God had looked after those bags. She started the search, but had no success. Among the debris, mud, and sand, they started the hard labor to clean what once had been her home. Suddenly, Hector, her husband, found a bag surrounded by garbage. It was damaged, but its interior was just fine. The envelopes were wet, but they were all legible and with the full amount. It was a miracle. One by one, they rescued the names of the givers and the amount given by each of them.
Marcela Orellana.
She thanks God for showing His love, care, and power in the midst of the disaster both to the church in Constitución and her family.
So we have 1,743,000 pesos.
Taste and see.
Therefore, let's get to work. The work of Christian stewardship is broad, and the challenges to make this script will be substantial. Shall we pray about it?